We are officially 3 months away from the release of Grand Theft Auto 6, and just a few days away from the Netflix extended look that was supposed to be our first major look at the game since the last trailer debuted in May 2025. Within the last week though, the game has suffered numerous leaks that has turned the discussion about this game upside down on the internet. There is much discourse over mechanics, graphics, and possible story implications about what is seen in these clips. But one aspect of the leaks I have personally seen a lot of is possible disappointment in the map itself and what it could mean to the longevity of the game going into online and beyond. Before I go any further, I do want to give a spoiler warning. For those not wanting to see and learn about the supposed leaked map of GTA 6, I wouldn't want to ruin the game for anyone who wants to go in blind, so consider this your formal warning. Now that is out of the way, let's get into why the GTA 6 map has me excited to play the game and how it can enhance the experience over GTA 5. To start, I want to go back all the way to 2013, just before Grand Theft Auto 5 was released. Los Santos and the surrounding areas were confirmed for the game, and even though I had no expectations to see San Fierro and Las Venturas in the game, I was happy to explore a more detailed and crafted Los Santos. The game came out and I was in love with the city, the atmosphere of the game, and all Los Santos had to offer. It felt like the game was going to throw a lot at us compared to GTA 4, and the possibilities of having a whole section of a state felt exciting going into the second installment in the HD games. Very early on though, I could feel how small the map to GTA 5 felt when I got more used to the map and began to learn the streets and buildings of the city. The city itself was great, and through my 13 years of playing the game, I mostly stuck to the city, but that right there is the problem. Outside of Los Santos, Blaine County never really excited me. Sure, there's Sandy Shores and Paleto Bay, but looking back at those locations, I can't recall many moments that stuck out to me aside from the few missions in story mode, like Trevor's introduction missions, the Paleto Bay bank heist, and a few Easter eggs to be found within the area. The problems I have with GTA 5's map didn't start to really come to fruition until online, where I would start to notice that unless the game told me to go north, I would hardly ever go up there. I would keep all my businesses in Los Santos because that was where all of the activity among other players would exist. And even on story mode, I feel the majority of the missions and activities focused on Los Santos itself. Sandy Shores felt like an organic place to tell Trevor's story, but early on in the story, it felt like the game has him quickly move to Los Santos, so even the game felt like it wanted to get out of that region of the map. As you can see in my rendition of the GTA 5 map, the game has the main city of Los Santos towards the south and 3 small towns towards the north. The way this map is designed is to force players to travel from one end of the map to the other, not giving many options in between unless the mission itself is entirely on one side of the map. There are small points of interest here and there like the Madrazo farm, the vineyards, the observatory, and the Vinewood sign, but the closer to Sandy Shores and to the Alamo Sea I got, the more north I personally felt like I was driving just to pass a mission. And the more mundane the mission felt, like going to pick up a car to salvage with the tow truck or to drop a VIP off from the nightclub, the more annoyed I would feel in partaking in these tasks. Now let's fast forward to this week and what we know about GTA 6's map. I won't go into depth about the past speculations like other cities that are smaller than Vice City, but bigger than something the size of Sandy Shores, or the inclusion of another state like Gloriana based on license plates we have seen on many cars in the existing game footage. At this point, I think it is well known that the islands we see in-game are not established in the canon of the games, but exist merely for the benefit of having aircraft in them. Rockstar, including other locations in the online counterpart to the story modes, have always been topics of speculation, and with the rise of the ever-growing and dynamic live service game, I wouldn't be surprised if this is something Rockstar is currently looking into for the future of the online platform they are planning to build. What we have now is a set map for GTA 6 single player, and with it a lot to pick through and talk about, and the main thing I want to highlight in this video is why the map is widely different from GTA 5's, even though at first glance, it looks very similar. Vice City is the main city in the state of Leonida, and I would bet money that a lot of the story will happen within the city itself, maybe even be accessible from the very start of the game. I will speculate on my theory about the map progression in the story itself later, but I want to take a look at the cities and towns available on the map itself. We have Vice City and about 8 to 10 small towns, a big improvement over the main city and 2 to 3 small towns we saw in 5. I feel like the towns of Hamlet and Waning Sands will naturally feel like extensions to the Vice City area before you make it out to the Keys and the Grass Rivers or areas around Ambrosia and Lake Leonida. Another really exciting thing about the map is where everything is situated. Most towns and Vice City sits in the middle part of the map, while still hosting interesting places towards the southern part in the Keys and maybe a few up north. My biggest hope is that years down the road, it won't feel like a chore driving across the map because there will be many points of interest to play around with and allow the player to visit. And if the game does have me travel from the south part of the game to the north, I would love for the game to reward me for taking a longer trip. Another aspect to the map I want to explore is the potential dead zones. What exactly is a dead zone though? To me, a dead zone would be an area on the map where there is nothing but terrain. This map may not be an exact approximation, but if you are familiar with 5's map, I try to illustrate the areas where there are just mountains and nothing really of interest existing in those areas. The only real exception to this would probably be at the very top of Mount Chiliad, but other than a few Easter eggs, a parachute, and some bikes, there isn't much need to go up there except for exploring, which I assumed we all did when the game first came out. These areas waste a lot of area to the purpose of having mountains and wilderness to diversify the world a bit, but nothing much else. You probably asked yourself in response to that, well, should games not have mountains and places of wildlife? Not necessarily. I think if a game studio wants to include these types of areas in their open world games, they have to give players a reason to want to go there, explore, and reward the player for going in these areas, which is what I felt Red Dead Redemption 2 did so well. Despite the map of RDR2 almost being entirely wilderness and mountains, they crammed so many random encounters, mysteries, Easter eggs, events, and also included hunting and camping mechanics that engage and reward players being in that sort of environment. If one thing is true about GTA 6, it is that Rockstar is definitely leaning into the things that they learned from Red Dead Redemption 2, and we already know about several mechanics making their way into the game, like hunting and fishing. So even despite the possible dead zones I am able to see in the map for GTA 6, I would assume these areas will be rich with hunting and with fishing also coming. We can clearly see that water will be a major focus to the map as well. One aspect of the map that is compelling to me is the amount of water in it. It seems like we'll be able to easily move around on boats within Vice City and around the wider state of Leonida as well. The northern dead zone that represents Mount Calaga also is much smaller in size than the mountain ranges of San Andreas, and knowing there will be plenty of activities such as dirt bike racing and kayaking, there is sure to be things to discover up there even though it will feel secluded from the rest of the map. The rest of the map is very flat. The area in green looks to be farmland and marshes, the grass rivers and beaches also included, but terrain shouldn't be the same obstacle that it was in 5, and should allow Rockstar plenty of opportunity to place interesting points of interest to visit and things to do. The last thing I want to touch on is the story. In 5, I felt the narrative never really used location to its advantage, simply because there was nowhere to go. Both Michael and Franklin reside in Los Santos, with Trevor the obvious outlier. The start of Trevor's story in 5 felt wildly different to what you see before because of the new location, and I remember feeling as if I was far away and not really close to where I was. It also helped that the parts of the map you haven't been to would be hidden, so even though you could visualize the distance on the map itself, there was a sort of no man's land between where you started with two characters and where you ended up with Trevor, creating this sort of distance from all the characters. Once Trevor moves to Los Santos though, the game's story keeps focus with things happening in Los Santos and never strays too much to the other parts of the map. We don't know hardly anything about the story of GTA 6 other than the two protagonists, but one thing that is clear is that the keys in the south of the map seems to be where the player begins the story. This area could act as a great starting spot to learn the mechanics of the game and show the player a little bit more of the world before setting them loose once they get more familiar with the rest of the game and start introducing things like new weapons, story moments, and what I would assume is the second protagonist in Lucia. One thing Red Dead Redemption 2 excelled at was using narrative to push the player across the map chapter by chapter. The game starts with a robbery gone wrong, and the gang is on the run from the law. Each chapter introduces a new camp, and the stakes of survival grow bit by bit with each new plan the gang comes up with to survive in a world that is actively hunting them down. In my opinion, it sounds like the story in GTA 6 could really mirror this same type of storytelling to tell an emotional story about a Bonnie and Clyde style couple who does robberies and other crimes. We know there will be chapters in GTA 6, but how they will be split is anyone's guess. From what we saw in Trailer 2 though, I wouldn't be surprised if Jason and Lucia are on the run from certain agents of the law and they will need to move safe house to safe house. Even with what we know from the leaks from the last week, we know about the enhanced wanted system and how we will need to change our looks, clothes, and cars to escape from the police. There will be witnesses we will need to control, and we will have the same permanent bounty system on sections of the map if we get away. So it will be harder for players to stay in one place if they are engaged with the police. I hope narratively GTA 6 will give us a more natural way to explore the whole map, chapter by chapter, while also leaving it open for us to explore at our own pace within free roam. So with that in mind, I hope I was able to explain my reasoning behind what makes GTA 6's map far more interesting than 5's, and I hope I was also able to alleviate any fears you may have over it. I thank you for watching the video, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe and like. Thank you for watching.